What's your wildest high school secret? The lug nut band. There were 4 instances of cars having their wheels fall off after leaving school. It became a big deal, and the school even advised us to check our lug nuts before leaving. I never bothered because I knew the truth. In the first car incident, 2 friends and I were working on another student's car in mechanics class. We replaced the rotors and brake pads for him, but as teenagers often do, we got distracted and forgot to tighten one wheel's lug nuts properly. That day, the car made it about 3 blocks before the wheel fell off while driving. A weird coincidence. For the second car, different friends, and I took the regular tires off of a buddy's car and put spare donut tires on instead. We then did donuts and brake torques all over town one weekend. When Buddy changed his own tires the following week, one of his tires fell off while he was driving. It was just an accident, but soon the lug nut bandit theory started circulating. In the third case, an acquaintance, unaware it was all fake, decided to use this theory to get rid of his car. He successfully loosened his lug nuts and rode off the car. The lug nut bandit theory was now confirmed in the general population. In the fourth instance, another guy at school used the same logic as the third, and also successfully rode off his car, claiming insurance. As a result, the school installed security cameras in the parking lot. I've told a few people about the truth, but it's always fun to share again. Story 2. My elementary school art teacher was a cool hippie. She had a clay jar labeled fairy dust, filled with glitter, which she sprinkled on our heads. She would also give us animal crackers and smelled like patchouli. She abruptly left around the time I was in 3rd or 4th grade, apparently due to cancer. A year or 2 later, she went to a gas station, doused herself in gasoline, and set herself on fire. My elementary school science teacher was also beloved. He brought in his pet iguana and allowed us to have water bottles at our desks, which was a big deal in 5th grade. I thought he was great and even gave him my prized possession, a collection of dead moths. Sadly, he had a fight with his adult son, who shot him, taking his life. It was shocking in our small town and still is. Story 3. A friend's mom was a math teacher. The summer before I was in her class, I had the brilliant idea to find notes or tests to cheat with because I was terrible at math. Whenever I visited their house, I tried to stealthily look around. After several visits with no luck, I expanded my search zone and eventually ended up in the parents' bedroom. Once everyone was outside, I didn't find any math notes, but I discovered a drawer with lingerie, toys, lube. My curious side took over, and I snatched a pair of lacy underwear, shoved them in my pocket, and made an excuse to go home. On the first day of school, I realized that she kept all her schoolwork in locked filing cabinets in the classroom. I can't say I understand the obsession with underwear. It does absolutely nothing for me, but I guess you do you. Story 4. This story is kind of gross, so bear with me. One day, I ordered burritos for lunch, ate quickly, and hung out with my friends. On my way back to class, my stomach started hurting. Panicking, I ran to the nearest toilet but didn't make it in time and accidentally crapped my underwear. Mortified, I was lucky that no one was in the hall. I started panicking, thinking that someone would smell it, making me the prime suspect. I entered the nearest room, which was the AV room, audiovisual room, took off my pants and saw that all the mess was just in my boxers. I panicked about where to throw them. There were no windows. An idea struck me. I took the nearest chair and hid the boxers in the ceiling tiles. After that, I went to the toilet to clean up, planning to sneak out at night to retrieve them and dispose of my shame. But I forgot. The next day, at lunchtime, I heard the story of people who used the AV room smelling something foul. One unlucky guy found the source and tried to poke around in the ceiling with a broom. Poor dude ended up with a box filled with crap in his face. To this day, no one knows it was me. Story 5. In the lighting room of my high school's theater, there was a couch that no one sat on because some tech's crew heard a couple getting busy from outside the door. The room was locked, and when the tech opened it, the couple was gone, so no one ever found out who they were. I was one of the lucky ones receiving the pounding. There was an easy way to access the lights from backstage, so I snuck in and out, never suspected. Some of my cousins go to my old high school, and apparently, the couch is still there and still referred to as the bang couch. So that's my secret legacy. Story 6. Our boarding school mascot was a tree on campus. On mischief night, I had study hall with 2 other students. We decided to TP the school tree and stole loads of rolls from the library bathroom. After midnight, we snuck out and absolutely covered the massive tree in toilet paper, then snuck back in. We didn't realize that the next morning was when all the new freshmen were arriving for their tour, which included the school tree. It had rained, causing the tree to drop wet paper for days. The deans flipped and assumed they knew who did it. Notorious senior pranksters. But they couldn't prove it. 12 years later, I mentioned to my best friend from high school that I was one of the toughers, along with those 2 random people. He was shocked and had never thought it could be any of us. It wasn't the wildest crime, but it was satisfying to get away with it. Story 10. Every year, we had a student versus teacher basketball game. The main Chad McChadington pulled me aside 15 minutes before the game and asked me to smoke with him. Being the most popular guy, and me being me, I said okay. I had a blunt with wax on it, and we got super stoned before the game. Not just stoned, we were properly destroyed. I sat in the bleachers, watching him high out of his mind face off against the teachers, security guards, and principal. He dunked on them, and no one suspected he was high. Story. The wildest thing I did in high school was sneaking into the library during the afternoon pep rally. At the time, I was running the gaming club, and I had the then brand new Nintendo Switch and a copy of Breath of the Wild in my bag. Our school had giant touchscreen monitors with HDMI support in every classroom, including the library's computer lab. I pulled up a comfortable chair, plugged in the Switch, and played about 2 hours of Breath of the Wild on the giant screen. By 2:30, I packed up my stuff and bailed before the librarians could figure out I was there. It was probably my favorite high school memory. Story 9. A guy I went to high school with got kicked out, and, not too long after that, overdosed over a weekend. A teacher made a comment along the lines of him getting what he deserved. I didn't even know the guy. I just knew of him. That night, I created a fake Yahoo email account and emailed every teacher and staff member about what the teacher said, pretending to be a rich donor demanding an apology from that teacher at the upcoming end-of-year assembly, or I would never donate again. The next day, I saw a couple of teachers reading my email on their computers, so I knew it was a topic of conversation among them. I received a couple of responses, including one from my English teacher, saying he could tell it was a student email based on the emotion in it. There was no public apology, but I know the teacher was thoroughly embarrassed. I never told anyone about the email. Story 10. It sounds so stupid now, but in chemistry class, we had a student teacher who was awful. I was pretty good at chemistry, but my friends were struggling with D's and F's. The real teacher was absent for 2 weeks, and the student teacher was clueless. So, I made a fake email account pretending to be an anonymous parent, threatening to report him for abandoning the classroom. He did not take it well and sent a nasty reply. He sat the whole class down, saying we were responsible for our grades, but he remained in the classroom and helped for the rest of the semester. None of my friends ever told anyone, but I remember trying to act calm while he was raging in the classroom. I can't believe I did something so stupid, but I just wanted my friends to pass. Story 11. Our school was next to retail plazas, one of which had a soda shop. We'd walk over, get giant sodas, chug half, and fill the rest with rum. Sometimes, if we were daring, we'd smoke joints on our walk back. I can't tell you how many times I was faded in class, just nodding along. I hooked up with a girl at a school dance, and we ended up doing it in the halls just past the gym. As we were pulling up our pants, a chaperone walked around the corner and spotted us. The girl started fake crying to make it look like I was consoling her, and we were never caught. Round 2 was outside the dance right after. My favorite moment was when I was a freshman. Our lunch had a little market for snacks, but after Michelle Obama's School Lunch Act passed, they had to stop selling snacks due to restrictions. I started selling candy and soda from my locker. It was slow at first, but soon the entire student body knew my name and prices. I was breaking rules, but I would give teachers free treats to look the other way. Eventually, I realized I could sell more than candy, so I started selling drugs as well. Everyone knew my locker was full of contraband, so teachers wouldn't question me opening it 1,000 times a day. I made hundreds of dollars a week, flipping it for shoes and more product. I eventually quit after hearing about kids breaking into lockers looking for my stuff, but I discovered I had a knack for dealing like that. Story 12. I went to boarding school, and over a month, I reverse engineered the school's master key system and cut myself a master copy. While everyone else was locked in their dorms, I could go wherever I wanted. I explored the whole campus, including the decommissioned building full of asbestos, which wasn't the best idea in retrospect. There was a huge smokestack on the far side of the athletic field that I climbed. One night, I gathered friends and partied in the chancellor's office at 2 a.m. Those were good times. Story 13. This is my darkest secret, and I've never told anyone. My best friend was a total jerk in high school. Jealous, misogynistic, and all around a bad person. His girlfriend and he constantly fought, and we all sided with him, hating her. One night during a particularly bad fight, she reached out to me for advice. I told her to dump him because he treated her like crap, so they broke up. She and I started talking innocently at first. Then she revealed she had a crush on me, which led to a huge fight with my friend. Before I knew it, we were making out in my car on a back road in rural Connecticut over the next 4 days. We were intimate in every room of her house while her parents were away. She eventually went back to my friend, and we never spoke of it again. They didn't break up until after high school. I felt emotionally messed up for years afterward, especially when my girlfriends formed close relationships with my friends. Story 14. I once traded nudes with most of a sleepover party through Snapchat. A girl I was flirting with sent me pre-taken nudes while at a party. I sent her nudes I took in the moment, not realizing she sent old pictures. She admitted that her friends had seen my photo, but they were cool with it because they sent a few group photos flashing as well. This is a secret I've never told anyone before. Ultimately, nothing came of it, and I never pursued anything with the girl I was flirting with, although some of her friends gave me their numbers for friends with benefit situations. Story 15. This isn't my proudest moment. There was a popular couple in high school, the classic jock and pretty cheerleader. The cheerleader and I were friends for 3 years. One day during a bathroom break from class, we broke into a school closet and made out. Not long after, a drunk driver hit the car she and her boyfriend were driving, killing them instantly. Everyone was devastated, and a week later, they had a memorial with 2 pages dedicated to them in the school yearbook. I've never told anyone my story about that night. I believe the memory of them should be positive. She was sweet, and he wasn't a bad guy. Story 16. During homecoming week, my then girlfriend and I went around TPing houses and writing on car windows with washable chalk. One night, we found a house in a nice area and went all out. We had no idea who lived there, but wrote class of 2016 next to a big drawing on a sliding glass door. The next day, the principal held an assembly, explaining someone had gone too far at someone's house and asked for the guilty party to come forward, or homecoming festivities would be canceled. We never outed ourselves, and nobody found out. Story 17. Not my secret. But one of my high school science teacher's wives stole the credit card of the business teacher. He was at a restaurant when the waitress's wife stole his credit card, paid herself a big tip, and told her manager that the business teacher gave her the card. The manager called the business teacher in front of the staff to confirm, and he denied being friends with her. She was fired the next day. We had a young English teacher who leveled with us and cussed. One day, a friend of mine got a text from him asking about the color of her underwear. After my friend brought it to the dean's attention, the teacher was forced to resign. I always wondered if he ever told his wife why he lost his job. 19. My music teacher had inappropriate relations with female students. Years later, one of those girls came forward, revealing he had relationships with 10 former students while they were underage. He only got fired, and as far as I know, he's still working at another school. I ran into him after it came out, and I told him to get lost. Thank you for listening to these spicy secrets, and I hope you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are. See you next time.